Welcome to Habits and Humor. My name is Susie B, and I am your host. Today, I am joined by Elian Haan. Elian, welcome to the show. So happy that you're here.
Thank you so much, Susie, for having me. I am happy to be here. I'm very excited to be on your show. Thank you.
It's going to be super fun. So today, you guys, we're discussing something that a lot of us think is either difficult or impossible, or we don't think about it at all. And that is enjoying yourself on the path to better health. A lot of us think about, okay, when I get there, I'm going to set a goal. And when I get there, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be proud of the work that I've done. But listen, you're missing the point if you wait till the end to enjoy yourself. So today we brought Elian on here. She has a host, or she's also a show host on the Win Win Women TV network, just like this podcast here. And the name of your show, Elian, is
Elian's Joy.
Elian's Joy.
Where I share joy and energy. Yes.
So much joy and energy. I love it. So tell us a little bit about you, your background, where you come from, and then we will go from there.
Physically, where I come from, the Netherlands, Amsterdam, until my mid-30s when I came to the United States. I didn't know how to do much, but I did know wellness and fitness really well because I came from a professional ballet background, trained ballet and theater history at the University of Amsterdam. And so for that reason, I just wanted to move and make people move. I was always, I guess, a born teacher because I loved teaching classes. And in the early 90s, I was still in Amsterdam. I got introduced to the era of Jane Fonda and Richard Simmons. And
I love Jane Fonda. Richard Simmons, yes, whole different energy guy. I love it.
Yes. And that was my kind of energy I wanted to be in. I didn't really want to spend the rest of my life in a bun and in pink leotards. I was way more interested in that hot little suit that Jane was wearing with those high cut things and all the collars. And the first time that we had ankle warmers and high heel sneakers. So I was very attracted to that and dove into the fitness industry as having the ability to teach. And that was the thing that I could do when I came to the United States. I came through a decade of trauma there. So I had to reinvent myself, but teaching was always one of these things that I could fall back on. So if I tried to get out of it, it didn't work. So by now, I must say I have, in a nice way, I would say 30 plus years in the fitness industry, but probably a little bit more.
Beautiful. 30 plus years in the fitness industry. You've been here and there and everywhere about it. I gotta ask, what was your most fulfilled time? Like, which piece of this was the most fun for you, or was made the biggest difference for you?
I loved it all. I loved teaching. I loved aerobics those days and on the floor with the calisthenics. So like I said, the early days were really big for me. My highlights were the years where I started really doing conventions and presenting at conventions because I really loved writing content and creating content for fitness. At that point, I had my own studio, my own yoga fitness studio. I was teaching 4 or 5 classes a day. These were the highlights years because I can't do that anymore. But from step to boxing to yoga and meditation, I got into it all. Started trainings myself. And with that training, I was in a remote area at this point, Susie. So I had to kind of come up with new things to keep people interested in classes and start of mixing yoga and Pilates and called it PIO, just like everybody else did or whatnot, right? But just creating a lot of content. Got invited to do that on the national stage, started training the trainers, different cities all over for about 5-6 years live. And those were really the highlights of, I met so many great industry professionals. I met so many great presenters, learned so much myself. So that was really fun. It was really fun.
Amazing. I love this. So one thing that you and I have talked about previous to this discussion is how the forms of exercise that you now do are slightly different than what you used to do, and how this hasn't brought you frustration or anger that a lot of us think as we age or as things change in our particular circumstances. If I can't do what I used to be able to do, a lot of us are really frustrated by that. So what is your perception on, should we be frustrated by that? The fact that we need to do things a little differently now than we've done them previously, or is there still some joy in there that we can find? What is the spin on that, or the perception on that you have?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it comes from, of course, I'm frustrated. I'm very frustrated because I'm in my 60s and I'm thinking, oh, I can't do that whole hip hop thing anymore. I definitely cannot do cardio anymore. My knees are messed up. And no wonder, because I have that onset of arthritis, and no wonder because I've been doing, you never know if you do too much or not too much, right? So there was years that I did way too much and probably messed a few things up. I am just in that great place in my life right now where I say that if you can still move a lot, amen. I'm just very happy to move bodies. And since I teach a lot more people during midlife, going into the transformation of, well, we can't do this anymore. I refuse to call it senior classes, of course, but I would like to call us mature adults. So I did a lot of these, I designed a lot of these after programs that were just really focused on not having to do all that hardcore stuff anymore, but getting a lot of the benefits out of taking it back into what I call my method is based on simple, effective, and getting results. I call it the SER method. So breaking things more down, more into a crossover between, let's say, corrective exercise and movements, including daily movement patterns, and then still have the same results, feeling stronger, being able to stand up straight, lots of posture correction. Those are the things that are really, really important. And of course, flexibility. I still do a lot of yoga classes and stretch classes. In that sense, I think flexibility kind of wins at this point. Not having lower back pain, hip pain, keeping your fluids flowing. I just do a lot of Tai Chi and energy work with clients and individual personal training, but also in groups. Just keep moving and having that wonderful feel of as long as we move, as long as we keep going, it's all good. It's a form of acceptance. And with that, I had to transfer my career instead of going for 5 hours a day into crazy fitness mode. As a teacher and as an instructor, you're a coach as well, right? And so for me, 10 years ago, that also became my midlife and transformation certified coach career. So I also have a private practice helping people to stay in that mindset of happiness.
You
And
stay in the mindset of happiness and just keep moving.
mhm,
I love these concepts where it doesn't even matter, like whether it's age or whether it's circumstance or an injury or just life uproots itself. There's so many times where we get thrown off from what we used to be able to do. And like you're saying here, like there's just focus on the fact that you can still do. Your body is still moving, and move your body in a way that feels good. I think that's a lot of where the joy comes from, right? It's not so much about focusing on how it looks or whether the pants fit the same or if you can still run a mile in so many minutes. It's not so much about tracking the numbers as much as it is about feeling. Would you agree with that?
absolutely. And I think that we're too focused many times on the numbers and the outcome in a sense of I have to look this way, I have to look that way. Luckily, I think we are going globally through the transformation of coming a little bit more into that awareness anyway. We feel good. We don't have to look a certain way. We don't have to per se, although one of my mottos is how to get your sexy back, right? Feeling that sexy from inside, but not necessarily what has been put on us from the outside and the pictures around us and what our neighbors can do and so forth. So coming more into the place of just feeling that even if you have a really bad day, if you go walk it off, I say, go walk it off, you feel better automatically. You get that movement, you start feeling, of course, emotionally, of course, mentally more prepared after you do that walk or that little exercise for yourself, because it will just release those hormones that get your happy on, right? That get your sexy on a little bit. And then you just wear your crazy t-shirt and you do it anyway. That is my
You wear
motto.
your
Just
crazy
do it
t-shirt
anyway.
and do it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I love it. Wear the crazy t-shirt and do
Yeah.
it everywhere. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
excellent. So you talked about a couple of different movement patterns that you focus on that you feel like are most important. You mentioned posture correction, you mentioned flexibility, you mentioned walking it off. What other specific modalities should we be using as these difficult circumstances or changing circumstances come up in our lives to help us keep our bodies feeling and moving well?
Well, for me, it's all about posture correction in the first place. And I'm really big on that because there is so much that we do forwards, right? We're just more onto the computer the whole day and everything. And as a somatic approach instructor or counselor, what I've done for years is starting with that. So in the mind, body, spirit approach, if you sometimes just correct that posture, I call that open your heart, right? And sometimes I say, maybe I can't say that on television, but I do it anyway. I do it on my show all the time. I call that girls up, standing up straight. It opens
Girls
your
up.
heart to where it all is. And it's all up there anyway, right? So I also say that to the gentlemen in my class, believe me, girls up. So open your
I
heart to
love it.
where it all is. And it has to do with, if you keep looking down, you're going down anyway, right? So if you feel
This
a
is
little bit
genius.
taller and a
Excellent
little bit
imagery.
stronger, right? Then you just kind of like, I got 2 more inches in my waistline all of a sudden by standing up straight. It is so, I make a lot of fun of it, but it's so important because, Susie, we just have generations after us, generations that are doing nothing else than carrying big backpacks and having a loss of self-esteem and all that stuff that comes with the difficulty of life and that first in their bodies. And if
Yes.
at some point when he was 18 or my 16-year-old at that point years ago came to me and said, Mom, I think I need a chiropractor. I opened my eyes and I said, what? When I was your age, I was hanging upside down in a tree and I was running all day. So where is this coming from that you all go to the chiropractor? This is ridiculous. You're in high school. But that is the truth. There is more and more and more back pain that is absolutely not necessary if we correct our posture. To answer your question is secondly, of course, balance and flexibility, and then strength and then cardio, right? We have to keep our cardio going. We have to keep walking, but it doesn't have to be running a mile or so, a couple miles. Get your steps in here and there, and really try to find something that you really enjoy. If it's by yourself or in group format, I always enjoy group format because it's fun with friends,
It is
fitness.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes. And enjoying yourself, finding the joy in the thing while you're doing it. What is your mindset that you use to do that? So, like a lot of us are thinking, okay, well, my balance isn't very good or my flexibility isn't very good. And we're like, okay, I'm going to change that. Doesn't particularly sound fun. So, what is the mindset that you have where you can find joy in these movement patterns and find joy in something so simple as improving your posture?
There's two big things to that mindset. I think, Susie, it's like in the first place, when people come to me and say, of course, they say, well, I don't have balance or I'm not flexible. And so that's why I'm not going to your class. Well, that's why you are going to my class. You become flexible. It's not about touching your toes, it's about the journey. And it's all about the journey, getting something done. And at the end of the day, how accomplished you feel, how awesome that makes you feel that you make that start. So one step at a time and not predicting too much outcome, not setting too much expectation there, just doing it. That's all. That's honestly, thank you, Nike. Just do it. I just do it
Yes, I
because
love
it
that.
will come. It will come. The results will come. And that's the same as people say, well, I can't do it. I teach many times things to people without telling them what's going to come in the sense of in the middle of the class, I'll do a plank and we're holding that plank for a little bit and people are doing that plank. And if I would have told them today we're going to do some planks, they're like, I know, I can't do that. So their mindset afterwards, I tell them, well, you just did a 3-minute plank and you're
And they're
60
like,
something,
mind's
something. And they
blown.
go, what? I just did this, mind blowing. And without too much expectation up front or setting too much things there that we can think about, just do it. It's just do it. Just make that start today. It's one little step at a time. One little step.
Just do it. Excellent.
Just
And
do
that
it.
will
Yeah.
give you the first bit of momentum. Momentum is so key in making a change, you guys. So if you are starting something or if something feels really difficult, they use that analogy of starting a chemical reaction. It takes far more energy to start a chemical reaction than it does to keep it going. Same
Absolutely.
thing with what you're doing with your changes in your life. So if you guys are thinking of anything, whether this is fitness, whether this is nutrition, whether this is family relationships, finances, whatever change you guys are thinking of making, just start. Just take the first step. And if you're not sure what that first step is, reach out to somebody like Elian. Reach out to somebody who is an expert in that field already. And if you don't know what workouts to do, get a trainer. If you don't know what exact steps to take, then reach out to somebody. Have a community of people around you. That's what Habits and Humor is. That's what the Habits and Humor Facebook group is. That's what all of the community, the free challenges, all the things that I do are a place for you to get that support, to get a couple of first steps so that you can start moving in the right direction.
And I
Elian, if
love
you had to give us a couple of first steps, what would those be? What would be maybe some starting points to finding the joy in your health or to changing your health in general?
Well, the starting point of just do it. And just like you just said, I love the fact that you said with humor, because we have to look at ourselves at some point with a sense of humor, right? I can't do this. It's just not existent anymore. So you have to come to somebody that will motivate you. And that motivation, that inspiration, I cannot motivate you. I can inspire you. But that comes with humor and joy. And that's what I like to really, I always say that to people. It is about relating with somebody that inspires you to do that thing and that kind of makes you laugh during it and has some. I laugh at myself all the time. Oh my, what a mess I am. So if you get that sense of group, and maybe even when we are together, when I'm with one-on-one with somebody, it has to be a joyful experience. Otherwise, people are just, if you're going to a yoga class where everybody is so serious and nobody says a word, and you're just, I'm dead scared to enter the next time. It has to be an inviting and a safe, very safe environment. And that's what I always tend to create for people, is the safe and fun environments where, like I said in my courses, one of my courses was called the F word of fitness, which was fun with friends and functionality, right?
I
So it
love
was
it.
all about those F words in the sense of create that safe space. Small steps, start walking if that's your thing, start swimming. I love swim and anything aerobic in the pool. Anything that has to do with exercise in the pool is wonderful for people as an overall pain management workout. And in my case, with pain management, I work with people a lot one-on-one because I came from that background, working with people for years. I worked as a counselor and coach in an addiction facility, and people had to get that physical strength one-on-one back, right? They were addicted to drugs or alcohol, and in long-term facilities, as I worked for 30 to 90 days with people, they had to get that strength physically back to feel that empowerment, to feel that sense of self-esteem and confidence growing back to where you could indeed mentally and emotionally handle more. And then what is so fun always is, or not so fun, but what is one of my biggest saying, and I call that my coach approach because it doesn't sound nice, but no excuses. 200 years ago, when you lived in your little house on the prairie, you didn't have excuses either. You had to get back on that horse or take care of 5 kids because your husband had only been around for 5 times because he was tending to cattle on 400 acres, right? There was no choice. So you just had to work through that movement and work through that pain sometimes. And there was not too many instant solutions. I am very much against not trying meditation or any alternative form of wellness first before you grab medication, before you go into the instant solution of surgery. Or I work with many people with back pain and sciatic nerve pain and so forth. And I had a solution before they had to get to surgery. So no surgery.
Yes,
No.
absolutely. There's so many other options. And if we would, but that's not what we're being told. When we go to the doctor and we say, I'm in pain, they say, all right, here's your options, medication and surgery. And that's it. And so then so many of us are struggling with that concept right there of, okay, I guess this is just the way it's going to be forever. But it's really not, you guys. If you are in pain, get somebody to help you to strengthen the muscles around that area of pain so that you can, like she mentioned, the power of strength goes way beyond physical. When you have that physical strength, it enables you to succeed in mental and emotional and all the other aspects of your life because you've proven to yourself, oh, I have some strength in here. I can grow. I can change. I can do this. So training your body physically can really set you up for some phenomenal success in other areas of your life. And I like how you're saying this, Elian, that this needs to be a joyful experience, but also at the same time, there's no excuses. That fine line, that balance. What are some tips that you could give us for the days where we don't want to? So we have all the excuses. We don't have time. We don't have the energy, but we know we need to do the thing, whether it be eat healthy or not grab the cookie on the counter or all those different things. What are some ways that you choose to motivate yourself on
I
those
have,
days when you don't feel like it?
yeah, I have those days, absolutely. But then again, it's just the days of back to the small steps, right? And back to just do it. So on the days that you don't feel good, I call that put your outside on. And it's the same thing as that silly t-shirt or that crazy hat or those high heels to where you automatically by what you are wearing and standing up straight and what you're going to do is making you feel a little bit better. The outside world will at that point also react to you. I call that's a moment where people say, wow, you look great today, or you look strong today. It's just because you're standing up straight, you're a little taller, and you got that feel. You put your outside back on, even if you don't feel good inside. If you have a lot of struggle, I have pain, I have grief, I have loss, I have a mess, just like everybody else. But I have to not necessarily drag everybody with me in that and show it all the time. So it's really important to show a little bit more of that courage and confidence. I love those two words where you just, if you don't feel good at all, I have those days that I want to wear black all day, big sweatshirt, no hair, all that stuff, messy bun. It doesn't help. It doesn't help to linger. So a small step with nutrition, the same thing. A small step. I have a line of supplements that I believe in very much so that people can reach out to me, please do, that help me tremendous with pain management, chronic pain. If you have these small steps that you're taking that help you and that you get informed on, you get well informed, and there's so much information out there right now. We don't have to go to those commercials that we are overwhelmed with the whole day on television that promote you and promote and promote and promote you to take medication. Number one pill leads to the side effects, so now you need number two, leads to the side
Right.
effects,
Oh
now you
man,
need
it's
number
such a
three, etc., etc.
downward
There's
spiral.
so much other things, and it's not always exercise, it's not always clothing. It can be a good massage, it can be aromatherapy, a new diet, some good food, some amazing supplements that you see results right away. It's really important, really important.
Phenomenal. I'm loving all
Small
of
step,
this. Put your
small
outside
step.
on, take the small steps, stand up straight. You guys, I'm teaching a conference this weekend for teenagers that is about that concept, like you said,
Yes.
confidence and courage. I'm actually doing confidence and compassion together, and how those two, when combined, give you courage. And it's just interesting how if you give yourself a little bit of grace and you're not so hard on yourself, and then you stand up a little straight, and you, even if you don't feel confident, act confident. Even if you don't want to go and do the workout, just pick up your pace a little bit. Just walk across the room a little bit faster. Put on some shoes that make you feel a little pep in your step. Like you said, if you don't linger, lingering doesn't help. So don't linger and don't stay in the feeling where you're at. Just shift something. And that's what's going to give you that confidence and courage. Act like you have confidence, stand up straight and look good, and put your outside on. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that courage is going to come and you'll feel better. You'll be able to do what it takes. You'll have the courage to just do it. And this is phenomenal. So good information, useful. And
Use it, Susie, because I worked with so many teenagers, especially on that self-esteem and that confidence. And I know it's hard. It's hard for them. It sounds so simple, but to kind of like get a little bit of that posture or a little bit of that feel. Sometimes I do exercises like, well, just go do the runway walk, pretend, so that you feel a little bit of that feeling coming back to where you were. It's very important for them because that's our future generation. They need to lead us into wonderful seniority. So we need them to have that self-esteem. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So before we open up to questions, if you're just joining us, we do a 30-minute after the recording here. Every single week we go live, and after the first 20 to 30 minutes discussion, we do a live Q&A session. So if you would like to join us, if you're listening to this on the replay and you want to join us, come live on Tuesdays right here, and we will answer your questions. You get to interview me, you get to interview our wonderful guests. Today we've got Elian on here. But before we open up the room to questions, I would like to just give people your information so that they can reach out to you about supplements or information or more things that they need from you. Where can we find you?
Absolutely. Yeah, elianhaan.com. That's simple, elianhaan.com. I'm most social media under my name, and I think I'm easy to find. There's not a lot of Elians out there. Oh, well, all over the world, of course. But elianhaan.com and Linktree Elian Haan. So that's the easiest way to set up a Calendly appointment or just reach out for my programs, or if it's coaching, one-on-one or group courses, anything like that. Most of it
Haan
on
is
my
spelled
website.
H-A-A-N, correct?
H-A-A-N, correct.
Okay, just double checking.
And it's on the bottom of the screen here. So just a .com right there, and easy to find, I hope, for people. And please reach out. Absolutely.
Beautiful. All right. So thanks for joining us this week on Habits and Humor, you guys. We will catch you next time. Remember, just do it. No excuses. Put your outside on, and your strength will give you the confidence you need. So keep building that strength, whether it's internal or external. You guys are doing amazing things. You're doing better than you think you are. So stand with a little bit of confidence. You're doing amazing things and you deserve the best. So keep working in the right direction. Keep taking those small steps and you're going to succeed. I know it. Elian knows it. Thank you, Elian, for being here. If you are live in the room, go ahead and stay here. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week on Habits and Humor. I'm Susie B, and this has been Elian Haan.
Thank you, Susie.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Habits and Humor podcast, where you come to learn about health and habits and then take action. If you're ready to take action and turn simple habits into massive results that last a lifetime, or you'd like to join our free live call with incredible guests every Tuesday, message me at Susie B Habits. That's SUZIB Habits on your favorite social media platform, and we'll get you in here. Or you can join our free Habits and Humor Facebook group for additional free resources. I'm Susie B, and this is Habits and Humor. Come to laugh, stay to learn, choose to live.